The last time the Bitcoin Bollinger Band's width was so narrow, we had an insane crash from $8,000 all the way down to $3,000. And currently we are at the same stage. The Bollinger Bands is as narrow as it was in 2018 November before the massive crash towards $3,000. And will we once again see such a big move in Bitcoin? Will Bitcoin once again fall down, or is it going to be different this time around? Don't forget to watch this video till the end, because I have prepared all the best charts that you need to be paying attention towards right now, as of the symmetrical triangle, the consolidation phase where Bitcoin almost was breaking out of, and much more important things here. Also the Bitcoin weekly RSI downtrend and more cool things that will be getting discussed on today's update video. So don't forget to slap up that like button. Can we once again smash it back above 300 likes? That will be absolutely incredible. And with that being said, let me jump straight in towards the content. And once looking at that imminent short term for Bitcoin, we can currently clearly see that we were trying to be breaking above the top side of this range, right? You can clearly see that in the past we've been getting rejected here from these higher sides, and every single time we basically tested it, we got rejected and moved towards the downside, and yet again we retested it and we saw a small rejection. However, if we do see the confirmation of a break above this very important level, then I will of course expect more further continuations towards the upside, but also vice versa. Let's say we move down and we break below the lower side here, so that's the 16.4k. If we break below that level, we will also probably see a big swing towards the downside. So still trading in this consolidation phase. And to be very clear, everyone, we have been trading in a range of an approximately $500 for the past 19 days and 16 hours. And that is a significant long period of time. And due to that, all these indicators are resetting. All these volatility indicators are telling us that there is just a big move lurking and that it is going to be happening anytime soon. And the longer we're going to consolidate, basically the bigger the Bitcoin swing is going to be here. And looking at the 4-hourly time frame, you can currently see that we did create that symmetrical triangle. We broke outside of it on the top side here, and like you can see clearly, this level right here, previous resistance flipping into support, that is actually quite a good thing to see here. We are bouncing from off this level right now here, and hopefully we could see a continuation towards the upside and a continuation of this trend. But also on the 4-hourly time frame, we are looking at this orange box right here, and let me make it a little bit more clear. You can clearly see here, previously around, it provided support, here it provided resistance, and yet again it's providing resistance. So this orange box right here is the $17,000, better said also the top side of this range right here, is really the resistance that we need to be breaking. And if we break it, that is probably the point where we will see massive volatility towards the upside. However, yeah, like you know, if we do break towards the downside, if we break the upper sloping support line, we could also see that big volatile swing towards the downside happening. However, if I am currently looking at the Bollinger Bands and the Bollinger Bands width, and on the lower side here, this red line right here is basically the width of the Bollinger Bands. That means basically how narrow the Bollinger Bands here is in the chart. We are currently hitting a low of 0.08, and the last time we have seen the Bollinger Bands on the 3-day time frame be so narrow was all the way back in towards 2018. And look at where it happened. It happened exactly on that point before the big swing towards the downside, and that was of course the crash for Bitcoin towards $3,000. So yes, here we also saw boring price action for Bitcoin, and one moment, boom, we saw a large volatile spike, and that was also where the Bollinger Bands was of course not narrow anymore, but it was wider, and that is why we were shooting towards the upside. However, if I am looking about what currently is happening, if I'm looking at the 3-day time frame, you can see that the Bitcoin Bollinger Bands is extremely narrow, because in the last period basically nothing happened for Bitcoin. After the FTX collapse, the market basically has been going in full silence mode, and you can see that we're touching that green line, what is equaling the same narrow Bollinger Bands as it was in 2018. And that is definitely an interesting signal, because at that point we saw a very big volatile swing. It was towards the downside. Could it be towards the downside this time around? Yes, for sure. What are your targets? If we do break towards the downside, if we have that volatile swing towards the downside, it's going to be, for me, $13,000 to $14,000. And let me straight away show you why I think so. Let me remove the drawings here. So once looking at Bitcoin and looking at the weekly time frame, we can first of all set up, of course, that Fibonacci from swing high to swing low of the previous bear market. And if we're going to be looking at our targets, we can see that if I'm zooming in here, that the golden pocket entry is somewhere around $13,000 to $14,000. So that is why I think $13,000 to $14,000 is a very important level and a very potential scenario that could be the bottom. Currently, we're holding up towards the 0.786, and if we confirm weekly close below it, below the 16.2k, we probably see more downside. Also, another reason, if I right now set it up to the monthly time frame, you can see that the golden pocket entry, the 0.65, is coming in exactly at the monthly highest candle close of the previous bear market. And what a coincidence, because monthly levels, monthly closes are usually acting as very strong support and very strong resistance, and that is also what I expect. If we then really are going to see that Bollinger Bands crash here, if we're going to see the big swing towards the downside, $13,000 to $14,000 is going to be the bottom for Bitcoin, and maybe the bottom is already in, but we don't know. But if we are having another crash, I am prepared to be seeing Bitcoin going down towards these levels to 13.14k, because I am also going to be buying more in towards my trade if that happens. I am prepared. If Bitcoin goes to $14,000, I'm not going to get liquidated, because first of all, my liquidation is around $10,000. On top of that, I will be adding more margin. I will be adding so much more margin if we crash down to $13,000 to $14,000 that I even will double the margin in the trade that I currently already have. I'm currently in this trade with 3.9 Bitcoin, what is equaling like $65,000, but I'm ready to deploy another 5 or 6 Bitcoins in towards this trade if we do see that big crash towards the downside. And if you basically want to be swing trading yourself as well, personally, I really think that this is the time to swing trade Bitcoin, because yeah, the market is currently extremely low and there's a lot of potential returns that you could be making from all of these regions. And if you're interested in swing trading, you could check out the links in the description. If you sign up an account on Bybit or BitGet, you can right now also claim an additional deposit bonus after your initial deposit. And that is just a very good opportunity that you're currently having. And of course, this is no financial advice, this is just what I'm doing. But I will basically show my trade here with everyone out there on the channel. As it goes good or bad, I will basically show everything. My liquidation is somewhere around $10,000. And of course, if the market crashes to 13k, I will double down my margin. So the liquidation price will significantly be brought down as well. So that is definitely a positive take for the markets. Of course, the volatility index for Bitcoin is also on a 2-year low, equaling the low on the Bollinger Bands width here. And if I'm really looking at the Bitcoin daily time frame, nothing is really happening. We're still in a daily downtrend, but at the end of the day, we're still in this range. Nothing is really happening. Nothing new is happening. What is happening right now? I mean, there are a few things that is currently happening and playing out here. And on the daily time frame, we can see that we broke above this downward sloping trend line. And that is definitely a good development for the market. And this could potentially lead towards more positive things happening in the market as well. Then looking at the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, we can currently spot that the weekly time frame is creating an RSI downtrend. If we do break above this RSI downtrend, we are expected to see, of course, more upside happening for Bitcoin. The weekly time frame is still providing resistance, and if I'm looking at the previous cycle, every single time we basically break these RSI downtrends, we tend to see, of course, big volume towards the upside. You can see we broke it right here. There was an approximately right here, and we moved up significantly after that. Also in the previous bear market, we saw, of course, an RSI downtrend. The moment we broke it, we basically had that recovery towards the upside. So this basically is a pretty important signal to be looking at, and currently we're having a beautiful trend line on the RSI, and it's holding us down already for over 735 days. That is such a long period of time, and this is probably going to come towards an end anytime soon here. And also, if I'm looking at the price action of Bitcoin, at the RSI of Bitcoin, and if I do place this line here in the middle of the RSI, so at the 50, you can basically see every single time we're below the RSI, it's historically speaking a good buying opportunity, because let me show you this. So in the past, we've been trading a lot of times above the 50 on the weekly RSI, but every single time we trade below it, that was right here, was a good buying opportunity. Right here was a good buying opportunity. Right here was a good buying opportunity. And here as well in May, another good buying opportunities. These signals don't occur a lot. And you can see in bear markets, they tend to stay longer. Just like over here, we stayed a little bit longer. And currently we're also in this phase already a little bit longer. So right now is really the time to pay attention. This is the time where you can buy cheaper Bitcoin, because not everyone is in a profit. And I know these are the more tough times, but these are also the times where you can make more profit from of your investments on. If we'll be looking at the Bitcoin halvings and compare them with the Bitcoin bottoms when they tend to happen, you can see the bottom of 2015 was 26 months after the first Bitcoin halving, and then in 2018 it was 29 months after the first halving, and currently we are 32 months in here and we officially have not seen the bottom yet. Maybe we have seen it, but no one is really saying that the bottom is already in, right? And probably we will only know really if the bottom is in a few weeks or even longer, in a few months from now on, because usually you tend to say that the bottom is in after it's already formed, right? So that is why we are probably have to wait a little bit longer, but be aware we are already 32 months in from the previous Bitcoin halving, and usually the Bitcoin bottoms already have been formed. And looking also at the legendary support line, we're still holding on perfectly towards this level, so things are still looking okay. And if we are going to have a crash, I will be aiming for $13,000 to $14,000. Anyways, this is it for me on today's update video. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to slap up that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see everyone on the next one. Peace out, goodbye.